White Settlement Chapel shooting response video. On 29 December, the White Settlement Chapel shooting occurred. White Settlement is a suburb of Fort Worth. Two people drew. One of them fired. At least four more drew in the immediate aftermath. There were two victims plus the shooter. So there's two victims, and then there's a third dead. Background. This guy had come around several times asking for money. They would give him food instead. On that particular day, he decided that he was going to get money. This was a robbery that went wrong. I'm really not seeing anything wrong so far with how things went down, other than, he went there to kill people and steal money. There are some people who are saying that this is proof of a lot of different things, and it's not really proof of much yet. It does prove that armed citizens can respond to a threat. Yes, two died. That's unfortunate. And I've always said that two, maybe three. Daily Anarchist did a study that explored this, and that came up with, I think, 2.5. I'll put a link in the description. This is not abnormal. This is actually pretty much exactly the standard. The naysayers will say, well, they all knew each other, and they all had clear line of sight, and. Well, that's a whole bunch of whataboutism. That whataboutism is also pretty badly negated by some of the other events that have occurred. There was the Walmart, I believe this was also in Texas, where the man walks into the store, another man sees the guy walk into the store with a gun and begins to follow him. He shot that man dead, but the shooter's girlfriend was behind him and shot him. And then she died. Here's the reality. You're going to be in this situation, and an hour later when you're trying to describe it to cops, it's just boom, 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 it's all explosions and everything, right? But when you're actually in it, you're going to hear that there was some shots come off this way that sound like a pretty strong boom. Some more shots over here that was a lighter pop, and then maybe some shots back here that was a kind of heavy pop. Your brain is building a picture of what's going on around you as it's going on. And we see this from events like the Target shooting. The man with the camera, he kept panning around because he could hear where things were happening, even though he wouldn't be able to articulate it 20 minutes later. Your brain is building this picture of the situation around you, and you're going to know that the first shots came over here, or the first shots came over there, or maybe the first shots came from behind you, relative. You're going to know that the real problem is over there, and maybe there's somebody over here you need to look at and think about and concern yourself with. This is the guy who started shooting. You know that. That's the way these sorts of events really go down. I've been very slow to make this reaction because I've jumped the gun a couple other times. Whiskey Warrior was one. Can't remember the others off the top of my head. And I really wanted to get the motivation in question before I said anything. It's pretty obvious what was going on. He was looking for drug money. He was going to get it this time, and he ended up getting something instead. And this is pretty much exactly the way it will always go down. 1, 2, maybe 3 killed or injured, and then the shooter's dead. After mandatory carry passes a year of this, they're going to stop trying. They're going to get the very loud and clear message, it doesn't work. So keep calm, and mandatory carry-on.